City Power is still battling massive backlogs in restoring electricity. That's because some of the utilities' infrastructure was damaged by hailstorms this week. Let's get you more on this. Bring in City Power spokesperson Isaac Mangena, who joins us for an update. Great to have you on the program, Isaac. Thanks very much indeed for making time. Yesterday, you spoke about 2,000 odd, shall we call them, calls or logs that were actually put through to City Power. I wonder how much of a dent you've been able to make on that in the last 24 hours.
Good morning and good morning to the viewers at home. We're still very much struggling. We're still recovering from the heavy storms. Our teams are still under pressure. We spoke about 2,000 yesterday around this time, but we are waking up to about 3,500 that we are still currently dealing with. Almost half of those are over 24 hours. Across the city of Johannesburg, even though a lot of work has been put by our technicians and contractors in different regions overnight, but we are still basically recovering and really under pressure, with the main sore points being Randburg, Hest Hill, and even Lenasia areas.
Sure. So 2,000 odd calls that were logged this time yesterday. You say that figure's now at 3,000. Safe to say the situation has gotten worse.
Yes, remember, yesterday it was more about, mop-up operations, with our colleagues from Johannesburg City Parks, who obviously most of the work that we had to do, we had to wait for them to cut off some of the trees that fell on our overhead lines, but also you had pavement and soil that got eroded, exposing our cables. So you have colleagues from JRA also involved in there. So it was a multi-departmental collaboration in terms of the cleanup operations. But of course, we also managed to restore power in some of the areas that also had issues yesterday. But yesterday morning, obviously, during the day when customers woke up, they started obviously calling to check, because some of those are actually over 24 hours as I'm talking to you now. So that's why the numbers have gone up. But we did pump in resources in all of those regions to ensure that at least we deal with some of the challenges that we were facing in those regions. So we are basically doing that. But obviously, don't forget that we're also still dealing with load shedding. And you were currently, before you spoke to me, talking about that. That is still a challenge as well. And while we are trying to deal with the impact of load shedding on our infrastructure, then we were hit by this heavy rain. So we are really having it difficult in both ways.
That's exactly what I was about to say. On any other day, City Power is dealing with one kind of backlog or the other. This has obviously exacerbated the situation. Very quickly, Isaac, in some of the most hardest hit communities, do you have an estimated turnaround time, especially areas where, as you've mentioned, trees that have been uprooted by the storms have also affected your power lines?
Yeah, I think our colleagues from City Parks have done a very great job yesterday. We have managed to basically move some of the issues out of the way. Areas like Lyndhurst, most of the areas within the CBD, most of the areas around Auckland Park, Melville, and even North Cliff. We managed to basically restore electricity yesterday. Overnight, the teams were also working to ensure that we deal with, especially the cables that have been exposed, but also the issue of vandalism came back to haunt us this time, because most of the mini substations and our units were vandalized with doors left open. And so when there's rain, water easily seeps through inside those units. And that's where most of the trips happened. And we are obviously going around to ensure that every one of those units have got locks, have been closed, and we're dealing with this. But we still have teams on the ground. We're pumping more teams also to ensure that we basically deal with this backlog. And hopefully by the end of the day today, we will have most of the customers restored. Remember, we are not able to blanketly say this is the ETR for all of them, but we are hoping that as we go, we will be able to restore most of the customers that were affected by this.
Isaac Mangena speaks for City Power. Isaac, as always, thanks very much indeed for your time.